What's going on, good people? What is going on? I tell you what. I tell you what, the best laid plans. Okay, let me tell you about the best laid plans. Can I get a fade though in the background? I don't want y'all seeing all my whole paparazzi situation behind me. Okay, I'm trying to hide the whole paparazzi situation. Okay. Oh my goodness. What's going on, good people? Ashlyn Cole here. Welcome to Shop Talk. You are tuned in live to Freedom Radio. I'm excited about today's show. I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to bring our co hosts up and we're going to get our special guest in here. I'm just absolutely so excited. So, look, do me a favor. Let me try to do it in my detailed voice. You can call, text, tweet. You can MySpace. You can Facebook. You could I don't know if we X. Do we X? Anybody Xing? I don't know. I have all my exes live in Texas. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's doing the whole X thing. It's too confusing, and God is not the author of confusion. Amen. Okay, so somebody say amen. What's going on, Cheryl Galloway? What's going on, Ashley Monet? Great morning. So look, let's bring our co-hosts up. I see a couple. Look at us being on time. Come on. My apologies for us getting the live broadcast started a little late. We had some technical difficulties, but let me bring up my first co-host who's on camera. Hey man, I'm so excited. This is my best friend who lives up the block, up the hill. What's going on, Ja'Cory Prothero? Who's frozen in time? Do you want to build a snowman? Y'all know that song from Frozen? I don't know what happened to Ja'Cory. Okay, we're going to take him out. Instead, we're going to bring up all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, or North Kakalaki, as they say, the amazing Yolanda Morant. What's going on, girl?
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?
Good. Good to see you. Come on, Bun.
Oh yeah, she's not supposed to be talking like
I
that.
don't
But
have
what's
enough
up?
hair to do that. I used to when I used to have my long hair. I used to wear it up like that.
Oh, it's only extensions, girl.
Well, what's going on with you today?
Hey, just came back from the ATL, from Higher Calling's big kickoff weekend, which was absolutely incredible. So thank you to everyone that supported near and far. It was absolutely incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just reminded because the Ebenezer ATL does their Monday MLK program. Jonathan McReynolds was there yesterday, and I was just reminded that that's why I was in Atlanta in the first place, to be there for all of those festivities last year. So I was sad to miss it this year. I was definitely sad to miss it this year, but so excited for you all, and I just can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, we're excited for what's next. Great things are next. Great things are next.
I cannot wait to see what's next for y'all.
Okay. Yeah, great things are next. We had a great turnout. People came from all over. Vincent Thorpe and Kenosis, Jerry Sadler in the Sounds of Pentecost. It was great. Hi, Miss Tracy. It was really great. Great turnout. We did it HBCU. I always say that wrong. HBCU style. So we dressed. And we have like this swag kind of thing we do sometimes. So we did that, and the people came out and they dressed in all of their college attire. And so it was great. We had a really great time, and it was really great, to do what we do. And we honor Tiana. She's doing a really, really great job. And so we celebrate her, and as we all continue to heal and move forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with you all as you navigate these waters, and God is obviously leading and guiding, and so that is, I love to see that. I love to see that.
Thank you.
Well, good. Well, we had another co-host, but I don't know what happened to Ja'Cory. His technology, I don't know what happened to him. So with I guess without further ado, because I see our fearless leader in the background, but not on camera. So Detail, I'm gonna give you a thumbs up and say, "Great morning, sir," but not on camera. But if you are tuned in, we have a very, very special guest. And let me just tell you how this came to be. Okay. So first of all, this sister girl and I are friends. This is my sister friends. Okay. And from the moment that we met, we have similar what we call flight attendant personalities, right? We have this similar, we're people, right? We love people. And she has just blossomed and grown this business because she lives it. And so last week we were talking about finances, Yolanda, and that conversation, it was literally like 2 comments and then it turned into a 45-minute conversation. And so I was like, well, let me get my friend on here to try to get us, to give us the real information about finances, because I think we're all just trying to figure it out. Right? We're just trying to how much do we save? What percentage do we do on this? What's a good interest rate? How can I leverage my credit cards? Should I pay this loan off, or should I continue to make installments? Is it going to hurt my credit if I'm late? Does it help my credit if I'm early? Right? These are there's so many questions. And so I'm excited. So look, for all of our listeners, I see you, Tracy J. Wilson, Cheryl, great morning, Ashley Monet, Harvey, great morning. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and share this with a friend. Tag somebody in the comments. Anybody that you know all of us need financial coaching and guidance. Tag a friend and let them know that we are live. And let's bring my great friend, Eva Palacios, to the stage. What's going on, lady?
What's up? Oh my gosh. I loved last week's episode. I am like, they are speaking my language and we got to bring it to the people. So yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm just super excited to be here and just really add value to your platform and your audience.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I have your bio. I can read it. Me personally, I'm like, bio is a bio. Tell people about who you are and what really, I know your background, about what's been even happening over the last, 4 or 5 years. Oh, and before, let me see, we have another co-host. Well, hold on. Let me bring him in here before we get you started. Y'all welcome our fearless leader, Demetrius Tollfree. What's going on, sir?
What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Dito, in the building. First of all, welcome to our guests. Welcome to Freedom Radio. Welcome to Shop Talk. We are glad to have you hanging out with us. Today is a great conversation. I am in an undisclosed G14 classified location. However, I could not just be sitting here repping Freedom Radio and not be a part of what is going on. So listen, I'm just here to hang out, answer questions, help out, whatever I can do. Ashlyn, the virtual floor is now yours.
Thank you so much, Dito. I appreciate that. I'm so glad that you were joining us, because actually Dito has given great wisdom about finances. Like, he's been able to, fix his credit and clean up his credit and take his family into a whole nother financial level as far as wealth building. His children are taking on what his mentality about money. And so I'm so glad that you were able to be here for this conversation, Dito. So Eva, tell the people, our listeners, what your background is and how you came to be a financial coach.
Yes, definitely. So yes, what's up, guys? I'm Eva Palacios. I reside in Stockton, California. I actually got all of my background and education because I worked for Consumer Credit Counseling Services of San Francisco for 17 years. And really stay at the job long enough, you're going to pick up some stuff. You're going to learn some stuff. And I was blessed to have gotten that job in the first place, number one, at the very young age of 17, before I could even get into any quote trouble with credit cards and things like that. So I literally was surrounded in an environment where I learned about all things money, credit, and finance. I grew up in a single parent household. She worked all day. Nobody taught me about money. Shoot, it was forbidden to talk about money at the dinner table, like frowned upon type stuff. And I knew early on in my corporate job that I wanted to do something bigger and better. And honestly, I did the math. I did the math and I did, okay, let me multiply and let me figure out how many years I have to stay at this job to earn the 5% annual raise to then be at an age where I can retire as a millionaire. And I did the math because that's what we're all conditioned to do, right? We're conditioned to go to school, get a job, stay there till you retire, and then you can live life. But when I was doing the math, something was off. But I was comfortable until one day God's like, no, daughter, you're too comfortable and I need you to do more work. New CEO came on board, got rid of top level paid employees. I was one of them. I was forced to get outside my comfort zone. That's where I turned entrepreneur in 2013. But I didn't get into the financial space because honestly, I was upset. I was upset and I was mad that it wasn't my plan. And I got into another industry, the network marketing industry, where that was also a blessing because I learned about building business, building teams, building people, the importance of nurturing relationships, and really just helping others achieve different levels of success so that I can learn from that. But fast forward time, 2020 is where we launched Empower You Financial, where we teach people how to live life on their own terms through financial literacy and credit education. And I love what I do. I do this in my sleep. I'm a mom of 3 boys who keep me on my toes, but most importantly, teach me the importance behind having open communications about money and finances. Because if we don't start learning that language, that generational wealth cannot be built. So I'm here today to add some value. So let's go.
Absolutely. Let me get Ja'Cory up here. And we got Michi. Hey, Michi, come on, Michi, come up to the stage. What's going on, Michi? Great morning.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm a little drained today with this long flight and delays and delays and delays and more delays, but definitely am here for the conversation. Had a wonderful birthday vacation trip, which was actually a little different, which actually kind of helps lead into the topic. I actually spent my last day because my flight didn't leave till about 4. So got up earlier that morning. I don't know why I was laying there. Just so happened to look into their properties and just look around and to see that a lot of the condos that they built in the New San Juan area in Puerto Rico are really inexpensive as far as rental. And I even had a chance to speak with a manager at one of the buildings and told me about a platform that they actually work with as far as doing Airbnbs. Because he expressed that there are a lot of retired people that come there and just rent properties just so they have a place to stay when they visit, because it's a beautiful place to visit and just kind of relax your mind and think. And so, yeah, definitely that's something I'm looking into. And, Phaedra Park said something, listen to Eva talk when she was talking about, she could do it in her sleep. Phaedra Parks said something recently. She said, listen, if you're not making money while you sleep, then you're going to keep working until you die. And I was like, wow. So that all just led into that. So definitely excited to be here. Welcome, Lady Eva, to the show. So good to see you. Definitely finance has been something that has been a conversation off and on throughout Freedom Radio. First with D Told, he gave us some insight on how to build credit, starting from something that was a prepaid card. So I kind of took that tool, ran with it, and it's actually helped a lot. So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Michi, for that. Absolutely. And Ja'Cory, shout out to him. I guess he's going to be in the chat. But let's get this conversation started. Eva, we had so many things that we were talking about last week. What is the number one thing that somebody could do? Let's say somebody is facing debt. They're facing credit card high interest rates because either they've been late on their payments, or talk to us about what somebody could do. Like, what would be the first maybe 2 or 3 steps that somebody could take to begin to turn that credit score around when they're in the deficit?
Absolutely. When it comes to debt management and debt strategies and what do I focus on? What becomes a priority? Like, what should I do? It actually has a lot to do with the goal. So a little bit about what I do. I call myself the credit coach. And the reason I have that title is because I like to walk people through a series of what are their financial goals and what is that end result. Like, what are we doing? Is it to become debt free? Is it because I want to buy the house? Is it because I want to retire early? Like, what are we doing it for, right? Because at the end of the day, whatever we do in life, you have to have a roadmap, right? Like when we get it, how many of you get into your car and drive to a place and don't use the GPS? We all do it, even to the place that we've been to a billion times. Why do we do that? I do it because I want to get there in a good, efficient time, and I want to avoid traffic. So why aren't we doing the same things when it comes to our financial goals? So to answer that question in terms of if this is somebody who's in a space to where they're feeling overwhelmed with the debt that they have, number one, let's take inventory. Who do you have? Name the company, name the balance. What is the monthly payment you're making? And what is that interest rate? And then that fifth key factor, how much money are you paying in interest every single month to owe that balance? Because a lot of people are so used to, let me just pay the minimum because that's all it takes, not realizing that they're paying $45, but 40 of it is going to interest. And now they have this credit card for forever. So we need to, number one, take inventory and really understand, where is our money going? Number one. Number two, let's make some phone calls. I know sometimes that phone can feel like it's 1,000 pounds and we don't want to ask because we're afraid of rejection, but you have not because you asked not. So let's start making some phone calls to the creditors and let's ask for help. Can you lower my interest rate? I've been with you for X amount of years. I've used this card X amount of times. I've carried this balance for quite some time and I need help. Do you have any programs that can help me with lowering my interest rate? Even if it's 20% and it goes down to 18%, something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing so that more of your monthly payment can go towards that principal balance so that you can pay it off faster. Now, number three, and many, dependent upon who you're listening to about finances and what your environment has looked like, many won't agree with this part of my teachings. I will recommend number three, focus on paying the lowest balance first. For two reasons. The other guys will say, pay the one with the highest interest rate. Yes, because that technically is probably going to cost you the most money. However, paying the lowest balance first actually accomplishes two things. Actually, three. But paying the lowest balance first allows you to, number one, focus on completely paying that off so that you can free up that monthly payment to then take that payment and roll it over and add it to the next lowest balance. We call that the snowball effect. But number two, because you focused on paying off the lowest balance first, now you have one less stressful thing to think about every single month. It takes the pressure off of you, allowing you to remain focused. And let's be real. For some of us who love recognition, some of us who love to celebrate these small wins, that's a big deal. You go from paying 13 bills a month to now paying 12, to maybe in the next 60 days now going down to 11. So paying it off, pay the lowest balance first. Number one, get it out the way. Number two, take that payment, roll it into the next lowest balance. But number three, guys, and this is where people miss it. The number three reason why you want to focus on paying the lowest balance first is because credit score wise. The credit score, number one factor is going to look at payment history, but number two factor, it's looking at your utilization. How much do you owe on that one account? What is your balance versus your limit. And if you pay off that one balance, now you become 100% available, and that changes your mathematical formula when it comes to your credit score. So not only are you paying off debt sooner rather than later, but now you have the potential of raising that credit score sooner rather than later. So at the end of the day, yes, we make the phone calls to ask for help, but most importantly, let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's get out of debt and raise credit scores, because again, for many of us who love the recognition and love the small wins, oh my gosh, I just paid off a bill. I don't got to worry about them no more. I don't got to worry about these phone calls no more. And my credit score increased. Let's keep it going. And then now we become excited. Now we become encouraged. Now we become super laser focused that now we're going to start thinking, you know what? Maybe I should cut back on eating out this month and take whatever that monthly expense looked like, and let's aggressively pay down that next lowest balance. And you just keep that momentum going. And that's, one of the things that I focus on when I coach people, when I talk to them about, like, really, what is that end goal? What are we shooting for? And let's create that roadmap to get there.
Absolutely. That's so good. Eva, I'm going to just have you give people your social media information, because I see people in the chat asking, like, how can they get in touch with you? And then we'll continue this conversation, because I know people are like, I want this information right now. Let them know how they can find you.
Absolutely. I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram as Eva_empowers, or you can just really Google Eva Palacios or Empower You Financial. But yes, I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, definitely have a YouTube channel. But most importantly, guys, the one that goes, under the radar is my podcast. I'm on all the podcast platforms. Search Empower You Financial. I have over 130 financial podcast episodes that talk about all kinds of topics. And what you get with me, guys, is the real authentic. There's no glitz, there's no glam, there's no fluff. It is the raw deal. Because what I have found, and why I said in the beginning that it was a blessing from God to force me out of that corporate job, is because while I was in the corporate world, I could only teach what they allowed us to teach. And it was very filtered. Now, it's game on. Now we're really talking about and having those needed discussions about money. And not only learning how to manage it, there's levels to this. You mentioned, Ashling, earlier, like, there's levels to the financial literacy platform. So we got to start with laying the foundation down solid so that we can scale up and get to the bigger and better things that we want. But yes, Eva Palacios, evaempowers.com is my website. And yeah, you can pretty much just Google me. I'm everywhere.
Awesome. One of the things that I'm doing with Eva right now, she does something called Money Mondays, right? Money Mondays. And so I have this, you're not going to be able to see it, but I have this workbook. And let me tell you, it's work. I thought when I started talking, working with Eva and talking to her about my credit, I was just like, oh, she's just going to give me a little foo-foo, little something. No, she is aggressive. When I tell you, she is aggressive about finances because she wants us to win. And here's the thing, the finance amount of money that she's talking about, like you pay $45 a month and $40 is going to interest. That's money in their pockets. Yes. That's money that you're not getting interest. You're not gaining interest on. That's food off of your table. That's money out of your children's savings account. That is like, that goes right into their pockets. And that's how they're in business is our interest charges and all the fees and everything. So this has been so eye-opening to actually go through all my bank accounts, all my credit card statements. And honestly, I have to be honest about this. There were accounts that I needed to close. And so I took inventory. I made the phone calls. And when I made the phone calls, she was like, ask them if they'll set up a payment plan. And I'm like, okay. But the contingency was you have to close the account. So I was like, okay, I leave the account open and I continue to pay $75 a month in interest charges, or I make a payment. Don't judge me, Michi. I saw your face. Or or I close the account and make a low monthly payment for the next, 24 months or whatever it is to pay off the balance. And that was agonizing to me because I felt defeated. But Eva explained to me that that's a win. That's actually a win because now that $75 is going to actually go towards your payment, and you're going to get that credit utilization percentage down, right? You want it to go down so that you can increase you're like a seesaw. Your credit utilization number goes down, your credit score goes up. So that's awesome. I want to open the floor to anybody else that has any questions for her, and also our listeners. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat, whatever platform you're listening to. But
Now, if I don't mind, I don't want to interrupt, but definitely if you've got questions, let's talk about them. But I want to address what you just said, Ashling, because I know we got some expressions and we might have some thoughts about, oh no, she closed the account. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, that's the number one no, guys. Everybody's financial situation is their journey is different and their goals are different. And this is what's different between listening to what the world is telling you to do versus what you're trying to accomplish. And I tell my students all the time that sometimes our financial goals don't align with our credit goals. What I mean by that is sometimes we got to make some tough decisions like Ashling, like, oh, okay, if you're going to take me from a 30% interest rate down to a 0% interest rate, and that means sacrificing that one account to close it out so that I can remain focused and paying off the debt, that's a win. Why? Let's do the math as to how much money you already paid in interest across time and the future interest you would be paying if you don't make that decision today. Number one. Number two, that's not Ashling's only account. She's got other accounts that's going to uphold that credit score so that it doesn't tank. This is why you need a professional to look, their eyes and their brain to look at the facts, understand your goals, and create that map that's going to best fit your situation. Because if we continue to listen to all the people out there that tell us to do this, tell us to do that, they don't know what your goals are. And let's be real. Are they trying to create a success story? Because that's the whole mission and vision behind Empower You, is to empower people to really understand the language behind money and to really do what works for them to help them get to their financial goals. So I know we probably got some sideways, looks about the whole closing out accounts. It's not always bad. It just depends on the situation and the goal.
That's right. That's right. Anybody got questions? Y'all quiet.
I'm listening.
We got to get
I normally would have some questions. I would normally have questions, but because I've kind of been down this road before, even though I didn't have a financial advisor to guide me, I did get some help from a mutual friend that kind of pointed me in the right direction. And I agree with Eva that everyone's journey is going to be different. So knowing what your journey is and road mapping, as this young lady has already mentioned to us, I think that's going to be the best way for you to get to where you're trying to go. First of all, you need to figure out what is your ultimate goal. Then you can road map to your ultimate goal. And you have to be able to stick to that, especially in terms of the portion of, I like what she said, and I did the same thing. I got my credit score, got my credit report rather, saw who I owe, and I picked out the lowest ones. And each month, I found somebody I could pay off. I paid off this one, paid off that one. And before I knew it, as she mentioned, my credit score went up. And now my credit journey has taken me to places I never thought I could go to. Neither did I think I could obtain it, but road mapping definitely got me to where I am at this present moment. And obviously I don't have an 850, but I'm a whole lot further than I was when I first started a few years ago. So definitely.
That's great. So if I may, yes, while the max is an 850 credit score, I always tell people, it's definitely important to have a good credit score, because the higher the score means the less money you have to pay back when you borrow it from others. But also understanding the importance behind, once you get to that credit score, how you're making it work for you. For example, yes, you can have credit cards and you can have accounts that can give you that 640 to buy the house, the 680 to get the best interest rate on the home loan, the 700s to get the better opportunity. But what does that look like? So one of the things I teach my mentees is, yes, let's like the minimum standard is at least a 700, because when you're a 700 to 850, it doesn't matter if you're a 700, 750, 800, 850, that's all categorized as excellent credit. But now how can we use that in our favor? So one of the ways is what I teach people is getting the right credit cards, that give you 0% interest so that you can use them to do other things like invest in yourself to build a business, maybe invest in other things to build a business. Let's use that 0% interest to make money with it. Number one. Number two, using credit cards wisely. Instead of using the debit card and the checking account to pay for the expenses we would be paying for anyways, our utilities, our car insurance, our mortgage insurance. I on purpose don't have my mortgage escrowed. On purpose, I pay my property taxes and my homeowner's insurance separately. Why? So I can put it on a credit card. Why? So that I can get rewards. I can get free flights. I get free hotels. I get cash back. I haven't paid for a trip. I haven't paid for a vacation in over 6 years. Last year, I flew 35 times and a +1, my companion, 35 times absolutely free all across the US. I haven't paid for hotels in years. Why? Because I don't know where my debit card is. I don't use that thing. It's never going to be in my wallet. I use credit cards strategically to leverage, to fund the lifestyle that I desire to have, that's paid for by the banks and not paid out of my own pocketbook. That's the next level. That's the next level. Once you get to a good credit score, to where you've learned the language about money, you are disciplined, and you're using the credit cards wisely to be able to do the things. Holidays, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, baby showers. I don't buy nobody gifts. Guess what? I cash out my rewards cards for gift cards, and now I hand those out. And guess what? Because it's not my money, instead of me affording to give them a birthday present and maybe it would only be $20 or $40, guess what? I'm handing them over a $100 gift to Ulta, or to Ruth Chris, or to wherever their heart's desire. I just go on the list and pick which gift card, get it, boom, and now they have it. Now they reap the blessings off of my information and knowledge. So I encourage everyone that finances, there are levels to it, but it all starts with laying that proper foundation, just like you mentioned last week, being good stewards of your finances. Right? I have close to 280,000 in available credit cards, but Ashley Furniture, they closed me out. Why? Because I hadn't used them in over 4 years, but that's okay. Am I worried about them closing it out? No, because I've got 26 other credit cards that factor into that formula, that if somebody closes me out, I don't care. So now I'm down to 250,000, but hey, my balances are paid off every single month. I'm a good steward of that. I'm not going out here racking them up and going to the limits. We're using it for leverage to get us to the bigger and the better things in the next level.
That's good.
You are referencing so many things that I mentioned time and time again. Maybe for some people it will stick hearing it from a different voice. Now we do have Ja'Cory Proto in the back. We're going to bring him in since I think he's now available. Let's bring him in. Ja'Cory Proto, welcome to the show. What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, so I was mentioning, Eva, you're right on it. I mentioned some of this stuff last week, and I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to keep saying it until it registers for some people. Yeah. And that was last week, and we were talking about credit and building credit and all these things. One thing we have to do, we got to stop spending money we don't have, buying stuff we don't need, trying to impress folk that we don't like. At the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care what you have. I don't care what you don't have. My friendship is not based with you based on what you have or don't have. I'm not in the competition. So the mere fact that you have this and that, great, that's awesome. But I'm not going to spend money I don't have trying to buy stuff that I really, really don't need. At the end of the day, trying to impress folks
Don't like
that I
me.
don't like. So it's all about budgeting. It's all about using your credits wisely and making smart decisions at the end of the day.
Can I add one thing? I mean, I know I'm real quiet today. I'm really tired too. So I think part of it is that we don't talk enough about finances.
Nope.
The truth is we don't teach our children about finances, right? And so I was having a conversation with a friend one day, and I said, I don't think we know what we're doing. He said, I don't think we know anything at all.
Mhm.
I think the truth is, and this sounds like aw, but I think the truth is that let me just say for me, I guess for me, I watch my parents go to work every single day, right? So I have the ethic of hard work.
Yeah.
But I didn't, in respect, in all honesty, I didn't see my parents. They didn't sit down with us and say, okay, this is for this, and this is for this, and this is for this. I think most of the time they were they were working, they were taking care of their family, they were surviving. In my case, they taught us how to love God, love people, but they didn't always teach us how to manage life, how to manage finances, how to manage a mortgage. What is a mortgage? Right. And so I think part of the dilemma that we experience as people, all races, all creeds, all colors, is not really, we don't understand money. That's probably why some people have an issue with tithing, because if you don't understand money, why would you tithe? Some people are like, no, I didn't get serious. No, you can't. It's hard to do something that you don't understand. Right. It doesn't have to be like a big Jesus conversation, but it more so I just personally, me learning that I really have to make myself say, you don't need Amazon. She's your friend, but she doesn't have to come to your house today. There has to be a personal thing with me, like you say, because everybody's situation is totally different. How people grew up is totally different. How they saw life and how they experienced it is totally different. And so maybe it's not one, just one fix for everybody.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I think has been crazy is credit scores was when I was younger was always a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your credit score, it was like you don't tell nobody your credit score.
Yeah.
What is the point? If I know your credit score, then maybe I know that I shouldn't fool with you, because your credit score. No, in all actuality, your credit score can teach you who you should be with and who you shouldn't be, because evidently some things are not in line. So my thing is with that, I'm thankful for the mother I had, because she was just like, she taught us how to do checkbooks, how to balance. If she created for me an account to go shopping. My shopping account is something totally different than my regular.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's formula and how they work it is totally different, but you got to try some different things so you can balance it out for yourself.
Well, that's good.
So this
and
is
when you
up
say
my
about
alley.
credit score, so I'm on the other end. Like, I'm a really nice person. Okay, everybody knows that I'm a really nice person. I love God, I love people. Okay, but my credit score doesn't reflect that. So I think what he said in the same time, on the flip, I'm the devil's advocate. Sometimes it can present something that may not always be there, because again, for me, love my parents, but they didn't. My dad told me how to balance a checkbook, but how do you balance the money that's in the checkbook? That's a different kind of conversation.
Yeah.
What is a mortgage? How do you pay it? What are taxes? Why do we have to pay them? Why do some states not have to? I think we have expected people to teach our children, teach us things that were not their responsibility, right? The truth is, teachers raise children. And they raise them because most of the time is spent with them. But we have these expectations. I just think those things should be taught at home, right? So I have a great pastor named David Cooper, and he's decided to do a money seminar, teachings at his church. He said, because where are the most of the things you learn from, Yolanda? Church. So guess what? We're going to help you learn more about money here so you can do life better in all aspects.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I find myself getting emotional, and I know, like, I'm kind of the crybaby of the group, but I haven't cried on the air in a long time. It's been a minute, so maybe I'm overdue for a cry on the air. But I feel myself getting emotional because I just remember my mother having so much shame around money and finances or lack thereof. There's so much shame. And and then Christmas would come and she didn't have the money, but she would spend her last dime on putting Christmas gifts under the tree. And when I was a kid, I didn't understand. When I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, Christmas. And, you know, I've done good all year and this is my reward. But it was not a reward. Then I didn't know. Then come January, she's stressed, she's struggling. She didn't know how she was going to make ends meet come January, February, March because of the decisions that were made in December. And I'll share this, and this is not a secret. My mother, when she died, she had $37 in the bank. And I'm talking about $37. I'm not talking about in her checking account. And then she had money in her savings. She didn't have property. She didn't have a life insurance policy. She didn't have savings. She didn't have investments. When she passed away, that $37 check was handed to me, and that was it. And that like, it aches. My body aches when I talk about this because she did the best that she could do with what she was taught. But I promise you that not only it scares me that I don't want to die that way, like with $37 in the bank, but it feels like it's almost like we talk about generational curses. If I don't know better, I won't do better. Right. So I have to, if I'm not an expert at it, I have to get a coach. That's why Eva is my financial coach. That's why I trust her. That's why I have to get somebody that's accountable. Now, Eva might not be your coach or the person that coaches you, but get a financial coach. You know, that she's one option for somebody that has great information. But I don't want us to continue to walk through life with shame about money.
Yeah. And that's definitely key, because if you really think about why we do what we do, or why most people do what they do, it's because of past experiences, good or bad, right? Good or bad. I know, I was statistically, I was in a household where I should have been a statistic on the whole failure part of it. But I'm telling you, God was like, nope, you're going to work at the mall. And while you're at the mall, a customer's going to come in and they're going to ask you a question. And I want you to say yes. And you're going to go and you're going to move into this job. And I did. And I stayed there. And I loved it because I was now in a new environment that all they did was talk about money. And they taught me how to talk to their clients about money. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with this agency, but the only people who called were people who were in the worst case situations ever. Foreclosures, like they're about to get like the 3-day notices on their wall, the repossessions are there. It's the cars on the truck getting repossessed. The creditors are calling. Like, it was all the horror stories. But me being able to learn how to get them out of that, number one, definitely filled my heart. But number two, the more stories I heard, the more I'm like, okay, when is this ever going to stop? And the only way it's going to stop, it's going to be with us. What are we going to do to learn to be able to teach the next person, right? God gives us a gift, not to hold on and to keep secret, to share and to give it to his children, to allow them to then share it. Like, all I want to do in this life is plant as many seeds and get as much information out there so that people become better, right? As parents, I knew growing up in the household where dad was very rarely ever present, mom was the worker bee. Yes, I got my work ethic from her. But most importantly, I learned that when I started to have children, I don't want to be gone away from the home, because I do not want to rely on the schools or anybody else to raise my children. I want to be the one to teach them the things.
Yes, ma'am.
And now look, 10, 11 years in, I've been working from home. I'm present, but just because you're home don't mean you're actually present. I'm working on this year to understand how to love them in their love languages. That's another key, communication, right? But I've created an environment to where they saw mom and dad 80%, 90% of the time. And now the language in our house is entrepreneurship, money, credit, go after your dreams. Yes, go get the job so that you can learn what the corporate world looks like. But what are your talents and skills and your superpowers that we in the background can be building? Because that's what I did to get here. Because I want the next generation. I want them and their babies to be in a home where they have loving parents that are present, that are teaching them the important things that matter in life, so that we can start breaking these generational curses. We can stop letting the past traumas and the bad past experiences weigh us down, because we are all destined to do great things. But finances should not be the reason that it's holding you back. And it's holding many people back. So what are we going to do to change that? Starting with having these real conversations. I don't know what I'm doing. Help. You know, one of the things that I created was the Empower You Financial Planner. The Empower You Financial Planner is not dated. You can get this and start your month whenever. Every month has scriptures. You've got your weeklies, you've got your monthlies, you've got your, most importantly, breakdown spreadsheets of your income, your monthly fixed expenses, your variable expenses, your inventories on keeping track of your debt. Every quarter, what did you do from this month to the next month that maybe your debt's paid off, you know, lower, maybe your credit score's out of, like all of it. Like that's the book. And when you purchase that, that's where Aisling says, you get access to my 6-week Money Mondays course. We just finished week 3 yesterday. There's 3 more weeks, but guess what? You get in, you get access to the replays. And I'm literally walking people through how to track their expenses, how to get organized, what to focus on. What things can we give up? I got people out here where Uber Eats is making all the money. That eating out bill is more than people's rent and mortgage payments. That's why you can't get out of debt. That's why you can't invest. That's why you can't contribute to your retirement plan. That's why you can't walk away from the corporate job, because you're not setting yourself up for financial freedom, which then ties into time freedom. Like, we got to get in alignment with really what's important and lay your eyes and your hands on it and get focused. But it all starts with having these types of needed conversations.
Absolutely. Can I add to something? Say, yeah. Ooh, I feel like after, like, I've tried all I can, like, just not ball down crying, because my grandparents worked until they left the earth, right? And so for a lot of us, it's like that generationally. Like, they worked until the end. And a lot of times, like Ashlyn said, when they left, they didn't have much. So can you imagine having, my grandmother had 18 plus children, right? And all their kids had kids. So can you imagine having, I don't know, probably 20, 30 something grandchildren and not having anything to leave for them? We have talents, we have gifts, but can you imagine leaving the earth and there's land, but we don't know what to do with it? I'm just being honest with our family stuff, right? So it's just a lot, like everything she said, right? And so Bishop Brian Moore of Life Center Church talked about this on Sunday. He talked about life management, right? So some of us, I'm guilty. At the top of the year, I cut subscriptions I didn't need, right? Like, do I really need this subscription and this subscription? And you kind of get the same thing. Okay, you can give up. You can go to Tubi. Don't look at me like that. Tubi got some good stuff.
I got a box that I just pay the internet for, and I get all the sports channels.
Right.
Like we don't use cable. We got rid of cable 2 years ago.
Right. You can do Tubi. There's some things that, don't look at me strange because I'm keeping Disney. Man, I work hard for that. But I'm just saying, there's some things that we can cut, right? Well, like, do you have, like she said, Uber Eats? I mean, come on, it's going to your hips. So I agree with her. I think we have to make some different kind of changes and change the language. Yeah. Jacor was so right. Like, before, it was a secret about your, I didn't even know what the credit score was. What is the 850? Like, what does that do? I thank you today for this conversation, Ashlyn. I thank you today, Miss Eva, because I think we need to start having grown conversations. Yes. Adults in this ghetto, and the only way you come out the ghetto is to have a grown conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. And just like one of the quick things that Eva told me to do is to go to Experian.com, sign up for their 7-day trial. right? It's free 7 days, and then they charge you after the 7th day, right? So I was like, okay, how can I possibly get the most benefit out of these 7 days? So I went on there, I got all 3 of my credit scores. This was part of the workbook, right, that I showed you to fill out all that information. And then I saw a button on there and says, help us lower your bills. And I was like, oh, well, I wonder what this is. I'm trying to lower my bills. So let me click on this. So I clicked on it, and it asked me, it gave me like multiple choice of all different companies that they work with. And I was like, okay. So one of them was Sirius XM. Now I'm a music junkie, right? And so I listen to Sirius XM in my car. I don't want to get rid of it. I was paying $23.99 a month for Sirius XM. I punched that information in, and within 2 days, they lowered it down to $7 a month. And I didn't know that $7 was an option, because you can't go on their website and see $7 as an option. But when I followed the steps, right, she said, take inventory, make the phone calls. So I started inquiring. So I started calling around. I was like, hold on, what else can I lower? Let me lower the rest of these bills. I called Xfinity. I canceled cable. They gave me a Zumo box or something like that. And now I can stream live for half of what I was paying before. And so I was able to, in 7 days, lower those kind of like fringe bills that I call them by 50% in just 7 days. And so that to me, when I went through that and like and what she walked me through, I was like, okay, we need to get this like to the masses. So I know that we're out of time, Dito. I'm looking up at the clock. I know that we're out of time. Eva, first of all, how can we get that planner? And I mean, mine is in the mail, so I'm excited. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But in the meantime, when you buy the planner, you have the workbook pages that she gives you that you can start doing that immediately. But how can they get the planner, and how can we get in touch with you?
Yes, definitely. So my website, evaempowers.com, just click on products and you'll really be able to see everything that I offer. The planner, yes. I'm asking for grace because they're all on a ship somewhere at a port and we're waiting for them to be delivered. But I promise you it's going to be amazing and life-changing. This is our second edition, super new and improved compared to the first one. So I'm really, really super excited about that. But yes, evaempowers.com. You can find all of my services there. You got the planner with the 6 weeks, with the replays. Most importantly, you're actually entered into my Money Mondays community, where like you're now in an environment of other people doing homework, how they're getting creative when it comes to spending wisely, but most importantly, cutting back, saving, getting in alignment with what their goals are. This next Monday coming up, we're going to be talking about income and what that looks like, but most importantly, understanding where, how much money we got and how to best keep it, tax, that type of stuff. But also we're going to be talking about debt management strategies. So if you've got some debt and you need strategies on what's the best way, who do I focus on? Like, what are all things I need to consider? Because definitely more than just this one piece, then I highly recommend going on my website. The planner is $72. That includes shipping. You get the 6 weeks there. You're now in the community. It definitely is an investment. And actually on day one of my teachings, somebody actually made $1,800 because of a golden nugget that I dropped in there. So yes, let's go. Like, find me on the website, find me on social media. I'm constantly pouring on my Instagram, in my podcast. There's really no reason to not learn about money. It's just a matter of making the decision and sticking to it.
I think that's awesome. This has been a great show. And again, Eva, thank you so very much for being with us. I didn't get the chance to ask my question, but you know what? I'll reach out to you on Instagram and maybe you can share some information with me. But I will say this. I don't say this to every guest that we have. I'm going to say this to you. Not only do we thank you for hanging out with us, but you now have an open invitation that whenever you have time to come back with us, hang out with us, you have an open door to be able to do that. We would love to have you come back and share some more great nuggets. So listen, I'm looking at the clock. We're not out of conversation. We are merely only out of time. And thanks, Demetrius, for making us look good today. Anyway, let me say this in closing that I want to get us ready to get out of here. But before we go, thank you, Eva. I see you, Ash, and I'll bring you up in just a second. I want to say this: we're gonna do more things in 2024 to empower you to be the best that you can be. And I mean, I know we go to church on Sundays and we eat kind of and all that kind of stuff. That's all great. But I want to help empower you to be the best that you can be, not only at church, not only in your neighborhood, but in your family, in your future, and be able to pour some things out. Ashley, before I close out, you said you was trying to get my attention. Go right ahead.
So I don't know how we're going to do this with the no time left on the clock, but this coming Saturday, our own Lena Bird Miles is going to be with the Oakland Interfaith Choir at 5 p.m. at the Oakland Temple Hill Auditorium. Dito, I don't know if you have it. I sent it to you, but it's like last minute. I'm so sorry. But I am so excited. And Dito, we have 4 tickets that we can give away, but I don't even know how we're going to give them away right now. Looking at the clock, and you want to take a minute and give away these tickets because it is Saturday. And so we would need to do it today or in the next couple of days. But I'll leave that to you. We might give them away on Instagram.
I like that. We can do it. We can definitely do an Instagram giveaway through stories or whatever we come up with. I think that would be absolutely great. Listen,
Okay.
we're going to get ready to get out of here. Allow me to give a closing comment and final thought. Again, Eva, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. I think I followed you yesterday on Instagram.
Yes.
Maybe you'll follow me back. But anyway,
Yes.
as a closing comment and a final thought, as we're still in this whole thing about building and upbuilding and making things happen for a great 2024, allow me to say this. Don't let anyone, and I mean, don't let anyone who hasn't been in your shoes try to tell you how to tie your laces. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't let anyone who hasn't been in your shoes try to tell you how to tie your laces, because they're not going to tell you what they don't know what to tell you. So listen, let that be our closing comment on behalf of Demetrius out in the ATL, Yolanda out in Charlotte of North Carolina, Ashlyn and Jacory both in well, I'm about to tell y'all Pittsburgh again, but it's Hercules of California, and our special guest Eva. Did I hear you say you're from Stockton?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Glad to have you hanging out with us. We're almost neighbors. My name is Demetrius Toll-Free. Until the next time on this same Shop Talk network at this same Shop Talk time, y'all know how I do. Y'all can help me say it out. He kind of holla.